please help me to welcome Gareth to the stand.
Good afternoon. Thank you well, good morning still, is it? Yeah, good morning. Thank you all for coming. While we start, can I get an idea who's Bitcoiners and who isn't? So the Bitcoiners, who are you? Oh, so it's nicely balanced. Now I've got no idea what to talk about. Right. I'm going to start off going on about new entrants and disruptors in the Bitcoin technology space and sort of banking and a little bit of what our previous presenter was talking about and how I think I'll jump onto that straight away before I begin and we wait for this. The biggest problem I find with Bitcoin is the understanding between the two, whether we're talking about Bitcoin as a currency or Bitcoin as a technology. First, I want to sort of look at the Bitcoin, or talk a bit about Bitcoin and banks. How many bankers have we got? Oh, come on, you can put your hands up. Oh, there we go. Neo-banking is a pretty new concept for some. I know that over here we've got Capitec, who sort of went and said, hang on, we're going to go and start a bank. We don't need offices, we don't need tellers, we don't need any of that. We just need a bit of technology, a few good contacts, and there we go. So what's been happening in the technology sector a bit is the things have changed. And it's not so much Bitcoin that's changed it, it's the internet. I mean, we all know that. If I said to anybody 20 years ago, no, I send you some money, they'd look at me funny, or they'd wait for the little guy to pitch up in his car and say, there's the money that guy sent you. So things have changed quite a lot. And there's a lot of advantages being a neobank. It's easy, it's quick. It's not as straightforward as I'm making it out to be, but it's a lot different from trying to be Bernard Cantor in 1973 to start a bank. It's a lot different these days. Money comes from a lot of different sources now. You don't need to go and find some rich guy somewhere that's going to help you with your idea. We've got crowdfunding, we've got crowdsourcing, we've got all these other things that the internet has brought us to be able to do these things. We've got companies like QuickBooks, all these software programs that sort of hook into your bank account and hook into everything, that they almost become watchdogs. They sort of, they become the guys who regulate to an extent. How many regulators have we got? There's got to be one or two. Oh, there we go. So yeah, the neobank has sort of changed the way finance works on the internet, on people's phones, wallets. And it's a much more streamlined process, because you could go to one bank and use a little bit of their components, and you could go to a technology company and use a little bit of their components. This is the one I really wanted. Really? Shall I try and find it on YouTube? Okay, there's not, no. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, this was in 1995. On CNBC or one of the media, was the morning show. There we go. Thank you very much. The Today Show. Well, we've got somebody. There we go. And they were basically sitting there going, "What is the internet? And what is this @ thing? And why would I want to send a message like this?" And Bitcoin, the technology for me, is very much in that boat where we were 20 years ago, where the boss could send his secretary an email. There was no real point. He might as well just write a note or just call her. But it was a novelty. And I think we're in that stage. Today, it's slightly different. What we've managed to do, the big thing that Bitcoin solves is the ability to have a computer system that can look after itself. It can find the problems and it can discard the problems and give you the answers that you really want. And that has only really been available for the last sort of 6-7 years. And I think only right now, roundabout now, people are actually looking at the technology saying, okay, well, what can we do in real life? Where can we change things in real life, and what can we solve in real life? And this is where I want to split the two up, from being a currency and being a technology. As a currency, is Brock here yet? No, so I can say it. As a currency, I think it's a currency tool. I think it's a tool to manage other currencies. It's a bit like, a generic token that worldwide people can get used to and can trade in their own currencies and use their own payment systems. For remittance, I know that's a big thing, and a lot of people will shoot me for saying this, but I just don't see it as a remittance solution. Not yet, anyway. I think there's a lot of things that need to happen before we're at a point where Bitcoin is a remittance solution. My father-in-law makes money by traveling with Bitcoin. He actually makes money when he sends money. So it does work technically. Yes, you can use it for remittance, but I think it's more it's not a scalable solution that you could scale up and have a huge remittance company right now, purely because of the volatility that we deal with. And like the previous presenter said, there is solutions that people are looking at, and I'm sure they will come. I just don't think we're there yet. I want to talk about a few of the big problems we've got as new startup companies, new technology providers, some of the non-traditional pressures that are on us. And the biggest one is the regulatory story. Everybody's on about regulation, and you've got the one side who really wants to regulate things and they want everything regulated, and then you've got the other side who goes, well, we're not having any of that and we're going to kill all the banks. That is a big hurdle for all companies. And we've found that with a lot of our stuff as well. You'll go to a bank and say to them, we need a bank account to pay staff, and what do? We're involved in Bitcoin, there's the door. That's been a big thing. I don't think the solution to that is trying to get regulated. I don't think regulation right now is, well, physically possible to start with, and I don't think it's really necessary. If we take South Africa specifically, pretty much all the laws we need are already there as far as the interaction of Bitcoin and fiat currency goes. So I'm not sure that regulation right now is a big thing or a big worry. I think it's more a stumbling block than anything else, because there's no guidance. I think guidance is a more important thing for me than actually right now regulating something. Another problem we've got is a lot of people would say that it's a good thing that there's all this money coming into Bitcoin and into the Bitcoin space. I think it can go both ways. There's a lot of companies that raise a lot of money and then don't do anything with it. So, it could be good, it could be bad. I personally think right now it's a bit of it does more harm than it does good, because there's just too much money just going in and nothing's actually happening with it. The fact that we've got a decentralized system is great when it works. But to get everybody to agree to do something, or to get a sort of roadmap going, is really difficult, because obviously everybody's going to look after their own companies and what they want to do and where they want to take the technology. So getting that combined group is quite difficult right now. I know the Bitcoin Foundation's there, but even there's been difficulty to sort of say, okay, this is the goal, this is where we want to take Bitcoin, and this is what we want to achieve with it. So I find that that's a problem. We've got technology hurdles. There's lots of stuff that we've wanted to do and we've not been able to do it. For example, the smart meter, the smart contract, stuff like that. A lot of these systems that you want to interact with are proprietary systems. So they're closed. And you're very lucky if you can get in there with something new and say to them, well, you just have to bolt this on top and you can do X, Y, and Z. Most companies will just go, why? I can't be bothered. So that's been quite difficult. The biggest problem is consumer adoption. How do we get consumers to adopt Bitcoin? I don't think consumer adoption, to try and say to people, this is a better way to transact, is the best idea in the world, because you're looking at people who've been using, for remittance, for example, who've been using Western Union for the last 50, 60 years. Just going to them saying, well, where's your phone, do this. It's not going to be easy. Smart meters, paying your electricity. A lot of people are used to one way of doing something, and to get them to I still haven't even started using the new Standard Bank interface. I still like the old one. I don't even know what the new, it's probably better, but I just haven't bothered. So I think that's going to be a really difficult hurdle for Bitcoin and the technology itself to be accepted and adopted. And unless people are using it, it's just a novelty. Then we've got to go to start thinking like startups. Now, a lot of the Bitcoin companies, and us as well, we've been looking at it going, oh, this is a new technology. But just because it's a new technology doesn't mean that normal business processes are out of the door. I'm I'm pretty certain that, in my view, Bitcoin and Bitcoin companies, Bitcoin startups, is very much the same as a guy who starts a plumbing company or an accounting firm. The exact same processes apply, the exact same principles apply. It's just slightly difficult with banking. And therefore, a lot of people have started working on solutions, working on new products, which they haven't really pushed forward because of the banking problem. We've got a company in the UK who do micropayments for newspapers, stuff like that, and they've not been able to do anything. They've got the technology, they've got everything, but they can't get a bank account. So those things are quite difficult when you try and get things going like a startup. The advantages we do have is the type of people that are involved in the Bitcoin, the Bitcoiners, the true Bitcoiners, they do think differently. They do have a different approach to things. They do look at a more social way of doing things as opposed to a profit way of doing things where somebody starts a company and just wants to chase profits. So we do have a little bit of out-of-the-box thinking, which does make things easier and does help us. Lots of new markets for us to look at. There's lots of different things. There's the standard remittance, there's the trading, the voting, the interbank settlements, we've got the smart meters, stuff like that. But then there's something which nobody's actually done. There's a company called Proof of Existence. Does everybody know about Proof of Existence? Okay, so just quickly, they basically give you a website where you can take a document and you can write the document into the blockchain so that you can prove this document is the true document on that date and time, etc., etc. What we've done is we're a technology company, so we've got an up and running exchange, but our business is not a Bitcoin exchange. It's a means to an end. And we are launching our software at the end of this month, so that's the end of next week. And what we've done is we've taken a product that we've been running in mines for the last 15 years. And it's a document and project management tool. And initially, it used to use we had a SQL database on the back end that did the verification, the authorization, and all those type of things. But that can be manipulated. So if you've got a mine who's now got a 300 million rand claim against an insurance company for something that was designed wrong, a lot of people are going to be changing documents, are going to be saying the documents are gone. We've got a lot of mining deals going on in this country where 1 minute a mine is bought and the next minute everybody loses their jobs and the mine's worth nothing because the documents are gone or different documents appear. And unfortunately, Africa, we've got a lot of corruption, and that's a big problem. So what we've done is we've gone and taken that component and removed it and copied proof of existence. So our users, when we roll it out next week, our users will be able to say, this document was entered into the system, it stays with us, we don't have to see their documents or hold their data or anything like that, but it's publicly auditable. So they could have a guy in New York sitting there saying, okay, that document was authorized by this person, and that was the guy who drew the pictures, this guy said it's fine, so that's the guy at fault, which is a huge, huge market because they need it and they don't have it and there's no other way of solving that problem. The only way to do it is with a decentralized management system. A lot of companies have started looking at this, and in my view, this is really the way to push Bitcoin and to push the adoption of Bitcoin as a technology as opposed to the currency. Some of the questions I get a lot is, what is the future of Bitcoin? How much is it going to be worth? And how much money can I make? How much Bitcoin is going to be worth? I don't know. It can be $1, it can be $1 million. I honestly don't know, and I really don't think anybody could tell you what it's going to be worth. What the future of it is, are we going to see Bitcoin stay around for the next 10 years? I'm 100% certain decentralized currency will be around. Whether it's going to be called Bitcoin, I don't know, we'll have to see. Right, now can we have some questions?
Recently, to send money abroad, I actually set up an account with ICE3. Firstly, very impressed by customer service. It was fantastic. So
Thank you.
But secondly, once I'd paid the brokering fee, sent it over to the UK, and then looked at the brokering fee to get it into GBP, it wasn't worth my while. So I ended up sending it via Nedbank anyway, completely defeating the purpose. So you're saying that it's not a remittance market. It would be if your fees were lower.
Misconception where the Bitcoin transaction fee is lower. No two ways about it. The actual Bitcoin transaction fee is lower than any other way of sending it. But there's a lot of comparisons where people go, Western Union, you're paying 9%. With Bitcoin, you're probably paying more. The actual Bitcoin transaction fee is nothing. Yes, it's almost nothing. But you're talking about the transfer fee of getting the money into an exchange or acquiring the Bitcoin. There's a cost. There's the spread between the exchange here and the exchange somewhere else, which is also going to include the forex spread. And then you've got the cashing out on the other side. So, like I said, as an individual specific, like my father-in-law literally sits for 3 months before he goes away and says, okay, I'm going to change my money. But it's more of a game to him, and he spends all day on there doing it. So it's not just the time that he spends doing it, you just pay the fees and send it through the bank, is what I would have done. But it can be done. And therefore, it's a bit like we were saying with the modems earlier. The modems were running at 14K, and you could send an email. It was just a nightmare doing it. So it can be done, but it's not scalable right now. And therefore, it's not a true solution for me.
Okay, I've got a question regarding the proof of existence side of your business. First of all, why do your customers need Bitcoin to do this? And then secondly, do you think that you would do more than just documents? I mean, I would imagine companies would want to do things like verify the entire state of a database at a particular point in time.
Okay, IceCube data, I can't really go into too much on exactly what it is because the marketing guys will kill me because I'll probably end up saying the wrong thing. But the product it doesn't need Bitcoin. It's been utilized with Bateman Group, Cape Gate. We've got big clients that have been using it for the last 15 years. So they don't need Bitcoin, and half of them are probably not even going to know that they're using Bitcoin because they just buy credits on the system. The fact that system then takes the credits, buys Bitcoins, registers documents, or registers data, they're not aware of that. So it doesn't need to be Bitcoin. Again, it can be any digital currency that has a chain. So it could be a specific system that's just a chain, blockchain, just for that. But the main reason we're sticking to Bitcoin is, that's how the whole thing started, and it's there. There's no reason that we shouldn't use it because the volatility doesn't matter to us. It doesn't matter what the Bitcoin price is because it's just a single transaction, so it's bought at whatever price and straight away it's used, and it's only like 0.00000 something. So it's not an issue for us. The reason we really wanted to go decentralized is because you're now in a situation where Anglo-American or Ashanti or whoever go to their US company that owns them or go to the UK company that owns them, and that entity can have complete access to everything and all the data, see that it's all right, it's all been authorized, who did what, where they did it, so the complete auditability is completely public without actually divulging any of the information. And that's been a big issue. And the second big issue that it solves is fraud. Computer systems, if it's centrally controlled, it could be manipulated. And it is being manipulated. So it's been a problem that they've had. And it solves that problem.
Thanks very much.